Hello, today I'm going to talk about composition. Now, I have a slightly different take on composition to most people. What I'm not going to do is I am not going to show you an image and then start drawing lines and squiggles and circles and X's and why this composition works. Because to be honest, every scene works differently. As far as composition goes, a lot of the times you're not going to know a good composition until you get home and look at it on your screen. And that's the facts. Out in the field, we can try and compose a shot as best as we can. Sometimes it doesn't matter how well you compose an image. Sometimes images just don't work. Okay? Now, as far as I'm concerned, composition's kind of secondary. My first priority before I even think about composition is a subject. Finding something to photograph that is interesting and will make for a nice image. Okay, so when it comes to composing an image, look, the best advice I can give you is just move around. Okay, sometimes just moving an inch either way can change the composition. You're not going to know until you've got it. Okay, you can try and compose it as best as you can on the back of the camera. It's very hard to see on the screen on the back of a camera compared to seeing it when you get home on a big screen. Okay, sometimes things can look great on the back of a camera, you get home, they don't look so good. Sometimes you look at the back of the camera and you think it doesn't look good, and then you get home and you think, wow, that actually works. Okay, take lots of shots from different angles. Don't be afraid to go home with lots of shots that are different. Okay, you're better off going home with 100 shots that are slightly different than going home with 20 shots exactly the same and then getting home and thinking, I wish I had have moved to the right a little bit. I wish I had have moved to the left a little bit. Okay, take lots of shots from different angles. Composition's one of those things that everyone's going to see it differently, and you've got to work out what you like. Okay, you compose the shot how you want it. Okay, don't worry about what other people think. You know, photography is a very personal thing, so these are your photos, so you compose the shot how you see it. Get home, review your images, and more often than not, you're going to see things that you wish you had have done differently. I do it a lot. I will go out, I'll get a shot, and I'll think, okay, this doesn't quite work. I'm going to go back and do it again. Okay, I'm going to go back, I'm going to recompose my shot, and I'm going to do it differently. Now, if you're on a location where you don't have the luxury of going back the next day or going back later, just take lots of shots. Trust me, you're better off going home with more photos than going home looking back thinking, I wish I had have taken more. I would much rather come home with 100 photos and bin 80 of them than come home with 20 photos and not get one that I wanted. Composition's one of those things that the only way you're going to learn composition is to take lots of photos. Okay, we take hundreds of photos to work out what we like. Okay, and you'll see it with different photographers have different styles. They're not all the same. They don't all compose their shots the same. They don't all have the same subject, the same lighting. Composition's one of those things where the only way you're going to learn composition is to do it yourself and experiment. Take in as much information as you can. Find compositions that you like. And that's one thing I do highly recommend is have a look at images that you like. More so, rather than listening to how people compose an image, look at images that you like and try and replicate those images. That's better than any tip on composition that you'll ever get. See an image that you like, try and replicate that image. Don't do it exactly the same, like even if it's at a different location, but you have some similar circumstances, try and replicate that image with your own spin on it, okay, rather than composing the exact same shot that everyone else is doing. Most importantly, with composition, a strong composition is a strong subject. It's as simple as that. If you've got a nice strong subject, it's going to be hard to compose it badly. Don't think too much about composition. Take photos of things that you enjoy, mix it up, okay? Get down low to the ground, get up high, take it from different angles, work out what you like, and then everything will start to fall into place. And that's what you're going to see in my live streams. You're going to see me go out and there's going to be days where I struggle, okay? You're going to see that happen in real time. I'm not going to come back here and show you all my favorite images and why they work. Live streams, you're going to see it as it happens, okay? As the light changes, I will change composition. If a composition isn't working, I will move and find another composition, okay? We will work compositions live and in real time, so you can see more accurately when compositions work and when they don't, and you'll find that a lot of the times compositions won't work more often than they will work. Another thing with composition, like for example, I'm not big on popular places, okay? I very much like to get out to where there's no one around, take photos of things that haven't been done before. I remember when I first moved up here to Hervey Bay, you know, before we moved up here, I used to always see photos of the piers, used to always see photos of the beaches, the whales, all the generic, everyone takes photos of these. When I got here, I was pleasantly surprised at how much is out there that I hadn't seen. And that's what I go for. I go for things that, you know, other people aren't photographing. And if they are, I haven't seen them, but, you know, I've found a few trees that I find interesting. I like to find things, rather than finding compositions, finding subjects that I want to take images of. Find your own compositions, find things that you find interesting, and I'll almost guarantee that if you find something that you find interesting, it will make better photos. Take photos of things that you enjoy, and then composition will become second nature, because you will learn what you like. You will start to find your own style and learn how to compose a shot without watching other people explain how to compose a shot, if that makes sense. You need to go to a location you want to be at. You need to take photos of things that you want to take photos of, and composition will come naturally. Part of composing an image is, you know, taking things that you find interesting. Look, I take a lot of photos of rocks and trees, and, you know, there is a little bit of reasoning behind that, which I'll explain shortly. But they're things I find interesting, okay? I enjoy taking photos of rocks. I enjoy taking photos of trees, okay? They're places that I want to go. They're subjects that I want to photograph. As a kid, I used to love rock hopping. I used to love walking across the rocks, looking into rock pools, watching waves crash over the rocks. That's why I do it. That's why I take photos of rocks and water splashing over them, and, you know, generally seascapes. It's just something that I've always enjoyed. The greatest tip I can give you with composition is just take photos of things that you enjoy, okay? That's it for this video. Hopefully you did enjoy it. If you did, give it a thumbs up. I will be back out in the field soon, live stream planned shortly. And yeah, my next video, I will be out and about. School holidays did put me back a bit. The places that I wanted to go were busy. I don't like people. I want to be out on my own. I don't like talking to a camera in front of people. So soon I will be back to my normal content. So in the meantime, hopefully you did enjoy this one, and I will see you soon. With the trees, okay, and again, goes back to my childhood. I loved climbing trees, okay, as you know, almost any kid did. Through my teenage years, I spent a lot of my time in the trees and jumping out of them into a river. Okay, so you could almost call me a tree hugger. I used to climb the trees.